and welcome to Military Mondays. For those who do not know, blah, blah, I can talk this morning, don't know who I am. I am retired Major Brenda Sanchez, and I am the co-founder of Life's Real Currency with my husband, Michael Sanchez. And I bring you these Military Mondays every single Monday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. And my goal with the show is to educate you. There are many military members that don't even know about all the facets I learned about the military, going from active duty to wife to reservist, and even being out for a short period of time. So I like to educate. I also want to get the word out about veteran or spouses of veterans or children of veterans, which is what we have today. We have a military brat on today. And she loves that term brat because I love her dearly. So that's what these Military Mondays are all about. If you find value in them, please, please, please share them with your network, because we'd like to get the word out. And if you are a veteran yourself or the spouse of a veteran, I would love to have a conversation with you, especially if you have a business, to see if it might be a good fit to have you on my show and let everybody know about you and your business. So without further ado, I have the pleasure of introducing and having on my show today, Hollie Clere. She is the social media advisor. Hollie and I met through networking through eWomen Network about 4 years ago.
Yeah, like 5 years ago. Wow, it's crazy.
A while ago. Actually, did we meet at Polka Dots first?
We might have.
No, we've been in both networks, so our networks intertwine. She's out of Denver, Colorado, so we only get to see each other every once in a while in person. Yeah. But we have lots of conversations, and she is amazing. She helps businesses with their social media, but the real reason why she's on today is because she's a military brat. So give me a little bit about your background, Hollie, and growing up as a child of a military member.
Yeah, so cool stuff, because my dad was born in the UK. And cool. We're very, very English. He came to the States as a teenager, and they moved to Pueblo, which at the time was just, farm country, and, morphed and changed over time. He actually, when he came to the States, it wasn't long before he joined the military. And then if I recall correctly from his stories, you didn't have to be 18. But he joined the military. He had dual citizenship, and he was passionate about the Air Force. And he was involved in some military activities and the war. And very quickly after that was done, he had a lot of experiences overseas. Got a blind date arrangement with my mom, and bowling, actually. And they fell in love head over heels right away. And he wanted us to have a different life than what he was raised in. And so I was born and raised in the state of Colorado, and I've never moved anywhere else. And wow. Very, very quickly, he raised us to be independent, self-sufficient. We were Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We camped very, very early. We could set up camp at a very young age. We knew how to tie knots. We knew how to make fires. We knew how to make our own food. He wanted us to be very, very self-sufficient. Fishing was very active. We practically lived outdoors if it wasn't snowing. And even there were times where it was snowing, we would camp. It was really cool. A lot of the skills that he learned in the military, he gave us very, very early on. And I've been able to gift those to my children throughout the years. It's funny. I go camping with my children every summer, and my husband doesn't come with us. His schedule's so different. And it's funny because we've brought along some friends over the years, and they're very in tune with, like, this is how we camp. This is how we set up. You got to do it on your own. And so they all do. So there's this one kid who comes with us every year for the last few years, and she comes out and she sets up and we have our routine and there's no instructions. Like her dad attended one of our camping trips recently and he's watching, he goes, "You've got her pretty well trained." And I was like, no, it's all about equipping, giving them the tools, and they know their routine. They know what their skills are and what they're confident in. And that is how my dad raised me, is own the things that you're gifted at. And let's figure out ways where you don't have to rely on someone else. I actually lived on my own starting at the age of 17. And it was a perfectly fine transition from living with my parents to living on my own, then to being able to have a relationship and marry and all of that. So yeah, it's fascinating. Being English, it's a different palette of food. It's a different lifestyle. It's a different conversation. And marrying that nicely with American life was a very beautiful transition. So I'm blessed to have had him. My husband was raised by two gentlemen from the Air Force as well. His dad and his grandfather, very, very close relationships. His grandfather served in the Vietnam and Korean Wars and actually built bombs for a living. And he passed. Yeah, right? I mean, going through his trunk when he passed was fascinating because there were all these deactivated bombshells.
Oh, wow.
Not kidding. It was cool. But I mean, you're picking something up and you're like,
is it okay?
Is it okay? Is this safe? When you see the hole directly in it, you're like, all right. But he had passed of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which was a derivative of the Asian orange exposure. And so raising my kids with the stories that they all had and knowing that my husband and I didn't necessarily want to go the route of military life, seeing it's a challenging thing. It's a commitment, and it's a sacrifice. And I am deeply blessed and honored to have people in my life who had made those choices to step forward and do that, and to raise us in a way where we honor and respect that. It was very important for us to instill that in our children as well. And there's open opportunity for them. They don't know what they want to do. They don't know what their future holds. And, military could definitely be on the table. And I strongly believe, especially in this time, that we've got to fight for what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to fight for our freedoms. We've got to fight for what we believe. And the only way to do that is to give everyone the opportunity to have that as a gift in their life and look at it as a cherished gift, but also as a way of serving. And so in all of that as well, we've served our community for a very long time with the food bank, and giving our daughters the opportunity to be able to serve and give back has really opened their eyes to other people, other ways of life. And it's been eye-opening for them to be able to see that it's like, okay, so look at these other countries, look at the United States, look at how things are operating. You can make a difference in this world.
Yes, people can. So I want to go back just for a second, because you said your dad was extremely passionate about his service, but didn't want his children to live that life per se. In other words, moving around. He wanted stability, yet I love that he still taught you all of the skills of the military and being the child, a military brat, and learning all those skills without moving you around. That's beautiful. You don't hear that very often. And I never knew your dad, but I would imagine he was quite the man, just from our conversation this morning.
He is. He's very proud, and he's with us, and he goes to support me anywhere I go. He's my biggest cheerleader. He was at my very first WeBo meeting.
Yes.
And
awesome. So
I know.
So they're still here, right? Are they in Pueblo?
No, they live in Southeast Denver. So
I was going to say, I know you live in Denver, but I didn't know where they are.
Yeah. I went to Thomas Jefferson High School, and they live in the same house they bought 45 years ago when they got married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they got married. They bought their home all within the same week, and they've lived in that same house all this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet there's lots of memories there.
There is every wall, every nook and cranny has something precious tied to it.
Cool. So let's get to what you do today, because you are the social media advisor.
Yes.
And you help people roll with the punches in business and help them. You talked about doing what you're good at, you learning everything and having the skills, but at the same time, we both know in business, stick to what you're good at and hire people to do what you're not good at. So if you hate getting on social media and doing social media, but it is a requirement in business, believe it or not,
Yeah, especially now, everything's changed so dramatically with in person versus not, and really being able to share your story authentically and have an authentic relationship online is just as important as those belly to belly, knee to knee meetings that you were having in person. So I went to school for computer networking, and I can build a server, I can build computers, I have my own IT support, I could build websites. But what I fell in love with was not any of that. It was telling the story through social media. And because it is so powerful, it's flowing, it's fluid, it's living, breathing, that you've got to be able to create content that's relevant, but also have that conversation with people. I love watching these videos with you, Brenda, because I get to see your face and I get to see your emotion and the people that you get to talk to. And that for me is the biggest connection point. How can you deliver a social media experience with other people if you're not sharing anything online? And furthermore, you don't want to oversell, right? So in fact, you're not overselling anything here. You're just sharing people's lives, right?
Right.
And through that, there's a relationship that's built. And through that is where business happens. And that is the magic that I get to help people do. Over the last 4 months, I've actually spent tireless hours redeveloping people's messages. And there was a good solid 6 weeks where I didn't have a day off at all.
Wow.
And in the whole shutdown. And I worked from 7 a.m. till 8 o'clock at night, every single day of the week, just trying to come up with new strategies for people. What does this new angle look like? How are we going to pivot? Mm-hmm. And through all of that, it's been a really beautiful experience to dive deeper into people's lives and their businesses and make it a relatable, authentic message and provide abundant value. And that's what I get to do. I get to help people build out their profiles so they're searchable. I get to help people develop a strategy so they know what to post, how to post, and where to post it, and what the heck the hashtags are. Right?
Yeah, and then, exactly. The first time I heard hashtag, I'm like, what's that?
Right? But it's a
searchable sign.
It is, but it's a searchable term. It's a searchable term, and people are using those in conversations. And so because they're using them, the social platform said, okay, we'll make this a searchable item, unique to your account, and people get business from the hashtags that they use. It's really fun to watch. So that's what I get to do every day. I'm niched in just social media for the last 12 years. Oh my gosh, it's been 12 years now.
Wow. So let me ask you this. 2 different things. One, I want to tie it back to the military. So what did you learn as a military brat that makes you successful in business today? Like, what are those couple of things that you think really make you super successful today?
Number 1, always push through. You might not want to do it. You might not have the bandwidth to do it. You might be too damn tired, too damn bored, too something. Push through it because it matters. Get it done the right way, and you will see results on the other side. And you know what? I've noticed time and time again, especially in the last 4 months, that I'm so tired. I'm so this, I don't want to do. And then people just become absent and disappear. And then all of a sudden, excuse me, little dry throat. All of a sudden they wake up and they're like, what happened the last few months? Push yourself to the next limit and get yourself out there. Get it done, because it will make a difference. And I'll tell you one thing. That's one thing my dad always shared with me was he's like, you don't get a day to be tired. You don't get a day to be hungry. You don't get a day to just rest. You get to wake up and you get to put your boots on and you get to do whatever they tell you get to do. And that's because that is your mission. And as a small business owner, your mission is to serve others, to get up and put your boots on, tie those knots and get her done. Because when you go home, you will rest. There will be respite and there will be celebration. But if you don't put those boots on, you don't get that opportunity.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know what? I love that for the ending. I was going to ask you another question, but that was beautiful. And I think that's a perfect way to end our show this morning. I so appreciate you, Hollie. I wish we were closer, that we lived in the same town and we got to see each other more often, but we get to do this and meet on social media and build relationships online. And on the phone, and you're great at that. So if you need help with social media, please reach out to Hollie. I'm sure she'll put some links below, ways to reach out and connect with her. But of course, we've got the hashtags Be Awesome, because she is awesome. And so please reach out and connect with her. And again, if you found value in this, please pass it on to your network. And if you are a veteran yourself or the spouse of a veteran who has a business, I would love to have a conversation with you and see if maybe I could feature you on a Military Mondays. So with that, everyone, thanks for joining in, and I will see you next Monday on Military Mondays.
Thanks,
Bye,
Brenda.
everyone.